Hey y'all, I'm back again with another Pokemon Challenge video. Pokemon Red with only Goldeen was a really lucky run, so this time I wanted to use a pure powerhouse and see if I could beat Pokemon Red using only one Tauros. As usual, the rules are I can only use Tauros in battle, and I can't use any items in battle. By the way, if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and check out more of the videos on my channel. Tauros is one of the best Pokemon in the first generation. Its attack is pretty great, and its speed is even better. It gets a lot of really great physical moves to boot, so the high rate of critical hits makes it really strong. Plus, it has pretty incredible coverage. So, for the first time in one of these runs, it's less about can I beat the game with Tauros, but more so how low of a level is it feasible. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's do this. Off at Professor Oak's lab, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Charizard with Tauros, so that our rival will pick Squirtle. Tauros is a bit of a glass cannon, and since Blastoise will be the bulkiest Pokemon of the final form starters, it should be the most difficult for Tauros to handle. You'll see that's a theme throughout this run, that Tauros is really good, except when it can't one-hit KO something. Game Freak only allows Tauros to be male, and I think that's wrong, so I nickname our Tauros Beef Queen. Tauros only starts off with Tackle, but its attack is so great that the rival Squirtle gets knocked out before it's really able to do anything at all to Tauros, and with a few exceptions, this will be the case for most of the run. If the opponent isn't super bulky or do a ton of damage, Tauros will totally bowl them over. After beating Bubs, I immediately start grinding with Tauros to get it to at least level 14 so we're on par with Brock's Pokemon. And now that we're on par, I take on the Rock-type Gym Leader with just Tackle and a Dream. The cool thing here is that unlike most runs, where we start off unable to do anything to Brock, Tauros has a great attack stat and often crits, so we're able to win. After passing through Mount Moon, we take on our rival Bubs in Cerulean City. Tauros is still on par with the opposing trainer's levels, and we still only have Tackle. Pudgeotto lowers our accuracy with Sand Attack, and we miss a ton of tackles. Thankfully though, all of those misses are against the Abra, who can't do diddly anyways, so Tauros stampedes through Bubs' team with little to no effort. After the rival Bubs, I clear out the trainers on Nugget Bridge and then take on Misty. Tauros now has Stomp, which is much stronger than Tackle and also has a chance to flinch. With a halfway decent move, Tauros crushes Misty, and I'm really starting to appreciate just how strong this bull is. Aboard the SS Sand, we take on Bubs once again, and we grab the TM for Body Slam, which will be Tauros' best move for most of the run. An 85 base power move with a chance to paralyze, so even if Tauros doesn't one-hit KO, the opponent often gets paralyzed, which helps protect our bull. Now it's time to take on Lieutenant Surge, and this one is another clean victory. Voltorb and Pikachu go down in one Body Slam, and Raichu forgoes Thunderbolt in lieu of using an X-Speed and Growl. With that, we now have the TM for Thunderbolt, which we could actually use. The battle with the rival in the Pokemon Tower really shows off why I think Tauros is one of the best Pokemon for these challenge runs in this game. The opposing trainers randomly pick moves, so they waste turns before they eventually pick something decent, and they don't get many opportunities to attack before Tauros just completely wipes them out with its overwhelming strength. At the Celadon City department store, I trade a freshwater for the TM for Ice Beam and teach it to Tauros. Tauros doesn't have great special, but it's still better than most of the Pokemon we get to use in these challenges. Plus, Ice Beam is really great coverage. Body Slam is still our best move here, but I throw up a first turn Ice Beam just to be cool. Speaking of Ice Beam, we take on Giovanni in the Rocket Game Corner hideout, and you can see rock types that used to be a problem now get steamrolled by Ice Beam. Tauros gets so many great coverage moves in this game, it's honestly ridiculous. I tried to take on Koga at the Fuchsia City Gym, and for once Tauros actually lost a battle, because Weezing kept going for self-destruct. So I head to the Sylph Company to get the TM for Earthquake, but while I'm at this lower level, I take on Bubs first just to make things a bit more fair. His Pokemon all go down in 1 or 2 Body Slams except for Blastoise, but Blastoise still knows Bubble, and that's very bad. While we're here, I go and take out Giovanni, and once again, my dude is a total joke. At least he ditched the Onix, but still, all his Pokemains are bad and he should feel bad about it. Tauros comes in and completely claps those cheeks, and we move right along with our lives. Nidorino and Nidoqueen would have been even easier to take out had we taught Earthquake, but again, I'm trying to make things at least somewhat fair. Now that we have Earthquake, we head back to Koga at the Fuchsia City Gym, and where we were underleveled before, now we're pretty on par, so Earthquake devastates his poison Pokemon. Weezing still survives Earthquake, but like I mentioned before, he randomly picks moves, so he chooses Smog and we knock him out with Earthquake before he gets a chance to self-destruct. I wanted to get the badge boost to special before I take on Sabrina's psychic types, so I head to Cinnabar Island to take on Blaine. His Pokemon are all fire types, and Earthquake rends them asunder before Blaine gets the chance to do anything. Tauros is totally unstoppable. Eh? Unstoppable? Okay, well that pun was terrible. Alright, I really need to stop. Tauros, though, can't stop and won't stop. All of Sabrina's Pokemon go down in one hit except for the Alakazam, who goes for a Reflect and then Psywave, which is a terrible move, because she's a terrible trainer. Now it's time for our final battle with Giovanni for the final gym badge. Ice Beam makes quick work of his rock types, and Body Slam takes out Dugtrio before it gets the chance to Growl to lower our attack. Growl would make Earthquake a possible 3-hit KO on the Nidoqueens, but with full attack this one is no problem. Plus, Tauros crits like crazy, so we probably would have won anyways. The rival fight afterwards with Bubs is the first battle since Koga that poses any sort of challenge. Alakazam is always scary with its ability to critical hit us with Psychic, but it goes for Reflect instead when it's already within knockout range. Blastoise finally knows Hydro Pump, but Body Slam snags a sneaky paralysis and Blastoise is cross-eyed as hell, missing 3 consecutive Hydro Pumps. Get that tortoise some Coke bottle lenses, and then come at me, Bubs. Here are the stats going into the Elite Four. Tauros' stats are honestly incredible, and before we got to the Indigo Plateau, I traded coins at the game corner for the Hyper Beam TM. Hyper Beam is the strongest move in the game that doesn't knock yourself out, and it works a lot differently in this game than you probably remember. Hyper Beam's drawback for being so powerful is that it requires a recharge turn after use. But in this game only, if Hyper Beam picks up a knockout, the recharge turn is skipped. This makes Tauros a perfect Pokemon to abuse Hyper Beam. Between high attack stats and frequent critical hits, Hyper Beam can cleave through entire teams that don't resist the move. You see that recharge turn skip here with Jinx, and you'll see it again when we battle Bruno. Lorelei is inarguably the hardest Elite Four member for Tauros because her Pokemon are bulky enough to tank hits, but even so, they only usually do chip damage in return. So unless Lapras gets a freeze on Tauros with Blizzard, which is an automatic loss, all in all this battle's a 50% win rate, which is pretty good considering how underleveled Tauros is by comparison. Next up is Bruno, and he is the complete opposite of Lorelei. His Pokemon in general aren't bulky, so Ice Beam takes care of the 2 Onix, and Hyper Beam 1-hit KOs the Hitmon twins. I wasn't sure if Hyper Beam would OHKO the Machamp, so I went for Body Slam instead. But it survives, lands a huge super effective submission, and almost takes us out. There's that whole glass cannon thing that I was talking about earlier in action. Tauros 1-hit KO the entire team, except the one instance where it couldn't, it almost got 1-hit KO. Agatha is up next, and usually she's such a huge problem, but for once she's probably the easiest Elite Four member we have to deal with. Tauros has Earthquake, and all of her Pokemon are part Poison type, and have crappy defense. We do have to hit Golbat with Ice Beam, because it's Flying type, and immune to Earthquake, but even so, it goes down in just 2 Ice Beams, and doesn't get the chance to do anything annoying. Arbok also survives Earthquake, but Agatha cheats and goes for a retroactive Super Potion instead of going for Glare, which might have actually helped her win. Our bully old chap really made quick work of this one, and normally this is the point in the run where I'm pulling out my hair, and I feel drunk with power to finally have a capable Pokemon in my hands. Well, now it's time for the final Elite Four member, Lance, the Dragon Master. He actually puts up a pretty good fight, mostly because Gyarados is bulky enough to survive Hyper Beam and takes 3 Body Slams to knock it out. And it does huge damage with Hyper Beam to us. I could have made this battle much easier by replacing Ice Beam with Blizzard. That way Dragonite wouldn't survive, but I honestly zoned out here for some reason and didn't do that. Plus, Ice Beam picks up a sneaky freeze, so we squeak by with a win that I made harder than it needed to be anyways. I have a habit of doing that, both in Pokemon and in real life. At long last, it's time to take on the champion, our rival Bubs, and this time we need all the firepower possible. So I replaced Ice Beam with Blizzard. Or at least that's what I was supposed to do, but again, I was so drunk with power that I kind of forgot. Even so, Tauros comes out of the gate firing on all cylinders, and Hyper Beam dunks on most of Bubs' Pokemon. And it all comes down to the Blastoise, as usual. We snag a sneaky paralysis on the Blastoise, but in the end, it's just too bulky and it takes out our beautiful bull with Blizzard. This time with Blizzard, we take less damage from Exeggutor, and once again it comes down to the Blastoise. It repeatedly chomps on our Beef Queen, but Tauros hammers it with Body Slam before picking up the win with Hyper Beam. And with that, the challenge is over. I am genuinely impressed with just how strong Tauros truly is. Those who play competitive Gen 1 Pokemon already know how strong Tauros is, and I kinda knew too, but I've never done competitive battles in Gen 1, so it was more of an idea than a real thing to me anyways. Seriously though, Beef Queen was a force of nature, and the only reason I never played one in Pokemon Red was because it's super hard to catch one in the Safari Zone. Well, as always, I want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. These videos are a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, so I really do appreciate it. There's a playlist on my channel where you can find the rest of my Pokemon Challenge videos if you want to check those out. Anyways, if you like this kind of content and don't mind all my bull, subscribe and enable notifications so you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. And let me know in the comments what other Pokemon you want to see. Using Tauros inspired me to try out some of the other Safari Zone Pokemon, so next time, it's beating Pokemon Red with only one Execute. Until next time, bye!